So on this particular episode, I got a chance to catch up with my two cousins, Tiffany Olliver and Alicea. And of course, I have to put some respect on their name. They both are doctors. Tiffany is a doctor in veterinarian science. Anna has a PhD in biology. And I wanted to pick them specifically for the Finder Keeper Presents If the Shoe Fits podcast, because to me, they represent what the Finder Keeper woman would represent. They are in fields that you normally don't see too many women of color in. And so I just thought it was good to get their perspective on how they got to where they are. Of course, we are cousins on both sides of our family, which people will never understand that. But just hearing our upbringing, the common morals and values that we share, how we were raised, at my grandmother's house a lot, and our parents and grandmother had this huge village of raising all these kids, and just us as grown women now. We grew up together as little girls, but us as grown women just getting to chop it up about where we are in life, our dreams, our purpose. And so you'll get more of that tea when you watch the actual episode. So stay tuned.
I feel like being raised as a strong, independent woman definitely is something that drove a lot of my decisions to end in my career pathway. I felt like there were just things that I need to make sure that I could secure on my own. I think it's nice to have a partner, but I think that it's also very nice to be able to depend upon yourself and just hold yourself accountable. And so, my mom, my dad, they always raise us to be very independent. Don't depend on anybody to do anything for you, and hold yourself accountable. And I feel like that's what I have been doing. I have young daughters and I'm raising them the same way.
Yeah, you know how it is. Like, what Annie Barnes and all the Barnes women and Joyner women taught all of us. So how about you, Anna? What about you? What would you say about your upbringing and how it shaped the woman you are today?
So one interesting thing, and I'm glad you just brought this up, Lillie, was that I was actually named after our great grandma, Annie Barnes. And so I certainly embody all of her characteristics, right? Independence. She was brilliant. She was very protective of her family, but all at the same time, very nurturing, right? I just remember as a little kid, waiting for the school bus, getting off of the school bus, running around playing at our great grandma Annie's house, right? And she was just very protective, very hyper vigilant of her surroundings, right? Because she wanted to make sure that her Black great grandchildren were okay, and no one would kidnap us. But I certainly I certainly keep that in the back of my brain. Just being raised, like Tiffany and I mentioned, feeling protected, right? Having this independence about yourself, it has certainly given me a ton of confidence, Lillie. I can walk into a room full of people that don't look like me, and hey, it's okay, because guess what? I'm also educated. I also have a PhD in biology from NC State as well. So I think independence, and then being and feeling protected as a child, right, has certainly helped me to climb the corporate ladder of my company.
Yeah. And then it's just, I keep telling Jermaine was on the podcast on the prior episode, y'all. So, but I was saying to him, I feel like there had to be something in that water at Annie's house. And I think, when you're kids, you're not as self-aware, but I think being an adult, I can see how she was a leader in the family, and she instilled values that have shaped all of us in a way. So it's cool. And I don't know if y'all have seen my nephew Dee's daughter, but she kind of looks like Grandma Annie and my mom a lot.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. I
saw Dee sent me a photo of her, maybe it was a video a few months back, and she is absolutely gorgeous. It is so nice, Lillie, to see each generation progress. And when you were speaking about Grandma Annie, it made me think of something. I think that our parents, our grandparents, our great grandparents are very intentional about the things that they taught us, the things they experienced for us, because I think they experienced a lot and they picked out those pieces and said, okay, these are the things that the tools in your toolbox that you're going to need to succeed. And I think they were very forthcoming about setting those as standards, especially for us women.
Yes, very high standards, like high academic standards. You better have your work done. Your work ethic better be on point. Like, but all those things at times I would get annoyed with both my parents. But now, like as an adult, I'm like I see why they were so tough on us at times.
It was needed. It was needed. These are the tools that were needed to succeed. And I feel like our family as a whole, it was very nurturing for everyone, cousins, nieces, whatever, everyone got the same treatment. These were the expectations for you. Okay. And if you do those things, you're going to succeed. And I think that looking at the success of our family overall, I think those tools were successful.
Yeah. I feel like, I mean, not to hate on the guys, but I just feel like the girls, we're like kicking it up. We're killing it. Like, I just feel like we are.
And I'm thinking about too, Tiffany, how when we grew up, I was such a tomboy, right? You and I climbed trees, running 100 miles per hour on those bicycles, but there was an added layer of what it meant to also be feminine, right? And also be a lady, right? I remember, hey, slow down on that bike, you're gonna get cuts all over your legs, and it's not real ladylike for your legs to be all tore up.
Right. Yeah. I feel like the ladies, like the women, like our moms, the grandmothers, great grandmothers, they all like they had a lot of feminine energy, like you're saying, but they also could be tough. They also would tap into their masculine energy when they needed to. So it was I could see that in myself a lot now as I'm getting older and wiser too. So I just want to let you ladies know, like, there's all the segments on the podcast will play into like the shoe fitting. So it's just like the metaphor of what works in your life. And so we have this section called playing footsie. And that's just me letting you ladies know like how much I appreciate you. And I'm so inspired, even though y'all are my younger cousins. You guys are both killing it in this game of life. Like, I'm so proud of both of y'all. And I can't thank y'all enough for coming to talk with me.
Thank you, Lillie. Like, we're excited too. Like, you've always been our big cousin that we look forward to. And we're like, Lillie has set the standard. Like, okay, Lillie's doing this. Lillie's being successful. These are the things that Lillie is doing that allows us to say, hey, we should probably emulate that as well, to try to maneuver and get where we're headed,
Yeah.
We should be thanking you, cousin. We should be thanking.
Listen, we all gonna hit, I'm speaking it. We all gonna hit that multimillionaire club. It's on the way. Yeah. So, and then we have a segment called Walk in My Shoes. So that's basically where you ladies will tell the audience about like your day to day. What things do you do? Like what rituals, routines? How do you keep yourselves grounded every day?
Okay.
Ooh. Maybe I'll start with this one, Lillie.
Okay.
I work in corporate for an ag chemical company, right? So this idea of staying grounded, staying true to myself, not assimilating, right, to the dominant cultures, right? Mm-hmm. Kind of when I wake up in the morning, the first thing that I do, right, this nurturing feminine energy. My fur babies, Luke and Baxter, they need to go use the bathroom first, and it is my responsibility to let them out, feed them, get them ready for the day. My husband's a truck driver, so I let him sleep. He's really, really tired. I let him sleep. But we both leave the house together in the morning. During work, it's important for me to be approachable, for me to be nice and kind, but it's also important for me to be on top of my stuff, right? Mm-hmm. I do take development of myself very seriously. I do spend a lot of time learning from other people. I do spend a lot of time just taking different trainings and things, right? Just to make sure that my skills are up to par. But when I leave the building in the afternoon, I am exhausted, Lillie, from being the minority of the majority, right? So yes. To keep me grounded, I will take a nap in a heartbeat.
That must be genetics, because I'm telling y'all, I'm the queen of napping.
lay it down. What is that TikTok? I'm about to go lay down. But I do work out, right? Or go for a walk, which is very important to me because I do have a lot of energy with this type A personality. And so mentally I might be exhausted, but I also have to pair that with some physical exhaustion for me to stay grounded, for me to keep my peace, which I think is probably important for most people that have that type A personality.
I'm type A too. I've been told by so many people that, especially Brandon will come and like shut the laptop down, like, because I'm like OCD about everything. Like I've written out all the treatments for the podcast and stuff. I've never done that before, but like I'm the type of person where I like to go on adventures. I think that's the Sagittarius thing where we're adventurous. So it's like even if I'm like afraid of something, I'm gonna try something different, that I've never done before. But I'll be sometimes working till 11 o'clock midnight, and he's like, "You gotta go sleep."
Absolutely. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
funny. I never realized that both you and Anna were Sagittariuses. Like, I think that's great, and it definitely reflects in, I think, both of your personality types. I feel like I see it like front and center now. Um, Lillie, I'm a Pisces. So I am a nurturer by default. Okay. I didn't choose this life. This life chose me. And I want to tell you, like, it is total chaos from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed. I usually wake up. We have two children, Kayla, who's 7, who's in school, who's in brick and mortar school now. And then
Wow.
Kendall, who's like 3. So she's not really in school. But she spends time with my husband during the day. My husband works like second shift, and that's kind of been like a lifestyle change since COVID, so that we can maintain our family as a strong, like, central unit. And we do have help. We have like an outside nanny that comes in sometimes when my husband has to go to work a little bit earlier. But the key is, like, when I wake up, Lily, I wake up at 5 a.m. Okay. And my 5 a.m., no one's up when I get up at 5 a.m., but that's my sense of peace. I find like commitment and cleaning, so I'm up at 5 a.m. doing all these in-out chores, preparing for the day, preparing lunches, my lunch, my breakfast, my kids' lunch and breakfast, getting the day started, setting my family up for success, whatever needs to get done. I also have fur babies in the profession that I'm in, so a lot of that also is what I have to do for them. I start waking everybody up at about 6:30. Okay, I'm showered, getting ready for work. I'm getting my kids' hair ready. My husband's great at doing stuff, but there's going to be a certain level of critique that my kids want to go to school. So I got to make sure these school clothes
They
are
gotta
on.
look presentable.
Hair is laid to the side. Okay.
Yeah.
Everything's laid out. And so I do that. And then once I get past all of that chaos, I'm gone. I usually leave the house around 7:30. I usually get to work around 7:45, 8 o'clock. And I see appointments in 30-minute intervals, pretty much from 8 until about maybe 6. So my work day is pretty long. It's about a 10-hour work day. And I love my job. It is very challenging, but I like the fact that I have the ability not only to connect with clients, socially, mentally, emotionally, but it allows me to also build bonds with their pets, which are my patients. And these are things that obviously I've had this, passion for a really long time. And so I love my job, but it is also emotionally draining. I have to do things at work, that aren't as pleasant. There are decisions I have to make on behalf of my patients that can just leave me emotionally drained. And Anna can tell you, I'll call it Anna in a heartbeat. Sis, let me tell you what I have. Look, and I just need ears, for 10 minutes to vent. And those 10 minutes that I'm riding back from home, I also deal with the pressures of corporate America. I didn't realize that corporate America was going to be this difficult. That is something that I feel like our ancestors have prepared us for, but that particular segment, maybe not so well, because maybe the experience was different for them than it is for us. But it is very difficult. I think at times it's a very cutthroat type environment, and
we're not like that. I feel like we can be tough when we need to. Don't get that twisted. Yes. But I think at our core, all of us are kind people. And you don't want to have to like get in the weeds of it. I feel like the political part of corporate it was very toxic. And then just like the microaggressions. And then it's like, if you call it out, it's like, But what are you talking about? And it's like, no, you know what
Just
you
the culture of the practice. No, it is not. It's not culture for me.
Right. It's like, that's not how I roll. I try to be a fair and equitable person. I try to treat people with respect. But it's like, it's like, people come for you. It's like, we're supposed to be here to work. This is not supposed to be like catty stuff. We're supposed to be adults. So I totally understand. Like,
And then I leave work and I try to unplug all of that. Sometimes my work follows me home. Literally, I'm very much like you too. I'll bring my laptop before remote access in a heartbeat, and some of it is that, I don't want to stay at work doing those things because I'd rather be home, with my kids. So sometimes I come home, I'm cooking dinner, I'm working on the laptop, baths and getting things squared away. But, usually we kind of calm down around like 9, 10 o'clock. Like Anna said, we get ready to go lay down. Okay, there ain't gonna be a lot of talking, and then we reset, for the next day. So it's a lot of chaos, but I think if there were a few adjectives to describe my daily, process, is chaos, is probably the number one word. But I think that, we are a very strong central family unit. And so we just look at a lot of different parts. And I see myself as the center of this chaos and just making sure that everybody has what they need, giving them the integral parts, for them to function. So I think that's my role. I'm the central unit in the family to make sure everybody has what they need at any given time,
Yeah. I like what you said, Tiffany, about, finding balance and finding peace, right? As I kind of just think through the journey of what COVID has taught me, right? So I was virtual during COVID. Tiffany was in her practice, right? Still working physically, but working virtually kind of gave me an opportunity to better ground myself, right? And find better ways to find my peace, right? So kind of in that midst of COVID, I learned, right, and finally found that balance of work life. In that I'm a night owl, Lillie. I am too.
We are so similar. It's crazy.
don't function very well early in the morning. That's okay because everybody's different. But I mentioned my husband is a truck driver, right? So he gets home super late and we just want to stay up and vibe and hang out in the garage. I could stay up, Lillie, till about 3 or 4 o'clock, right? But that means
Not that light, but not that late. But I'll stay up kind of late.
means I don't want to wake up till about 11 or 12, right? So just finding my fine balance, finding what makes me happy, and then also being able to self-soothe, right? I think has been really, really important for someone that's extremely extroverted or was extremely extroverted before COVID, right? Just, COVID didn't give us the physical opportunity to lean on other people. And so it was important for me to find that peace, right? Find that peace of mind. And it has certainly been helpful now that we've been back into the office, right? I sort of disconnect myself from corporate and say, hey, right, this is not my life. This is just how we eat, right? This is not real life. This is how we provide a roof over our heads, right? All that other toxic stuff that goes on. Can you imagine how much time and energy it takes, Lillie, to be backstabbing and conniving, right?
That's what I always wondered. Like when I was in banking, I'm just like, but how do you sleep at night? Like, how does your soul feel okay being such a dark energy? Like, I just never understood. And then I would be told that, like, I'm too nice. I'm like, but, would you rather me be something else? I mean, what do you want me to be? So it's just, I totally understand. And even with the pandemic, I had to go like inside of myself. Like I got really sick all throughout last year, and so was my mom. So I had to make the choice to leave corporate because I'm like, if I'm gonna have to choose between my health, my mom's health, or the job, I'm gonna choose my mom and myself and my dream. So that kind of like I was kind of like forced out of it, I feel like. But I did get to do a lot of soul searching. Like I started to go to therapy every single Wednesday at 10 a.m. And now I'm just trying to get myself back. Like mentally, I feel like I got myself back. But now I'm working like on the physical. We got like a workout room set up here at home, and I go to the gym. There's like where I live. It's on the border of North Carolina and South Carolina. So there's like probably at least 10 to 15 gyms within a 10 minute drive from our house. So or sometimes I like walk the neighborhood and stuff like that. And I've been trying to get back outside. I've been inside like for most of the pandemic, but I'm trying to be more intentional about being present with people that I care about, because I feel like during the pandemic I kind of like isolated a lot.
Yeah.
So
And we're
Yeah.
all transitioning, Lillie. When I came out of COVID, I was so socially awkward. Right? I spent how many years did we spend in like physical solitude, right? I was
Right.
so socially awkward. I didn't like people walking behind me, right? We are now back into the office, but it's loud and I'm just trying to reconfigure my brain. People are listening to my phone conversations and stuff. So it's a it's a work in progress, Lillie. We have
Right.
not arrived. But one thing that I like that you said, Lillie, was this idea of for womanhood, right? It's not a linear progression for us, right? It's
Mm.
an up, it's a down, it's let me find my way, let me navigate my way out of this season of my life. And so it's we all have these values that were instilled in us, but it's important to know, right? Those battles, those hills are certainly going to come. One thing that I think that we also have, right? I feel like my ego is the size of this damn room, Lillie. Resilience.
Sometimes too.
Right.
Resilience. People went through a lot of things during COVID, but when I look back at our family in particular, I am most proud of the resilience, right? The way that we came back 10 times stronger. We're all doing good, and we held on to our values during COVID.
yeah, that's true. And then just seeing my mom, like, she's been going through a lot health wise, but right now she's like the healthiest she's probably been in the last 34. She is tough. So I'm like, if I can be half as tough as her, I'll be okay in life. Or grandma Annie. If I can just have a little bit of what they got, we will make it. We'll be okay.
Lillie, I think about your mother often because I feel like your mom, in a sense, like even though she's our great aunt, like I look at her as just like a primary aunt, and I'm just like all the things that she did for us growing up. These are things that I often go back and think about. And I'm like, your mother worked, your mother raised several kids. Your mom like was a nurturer. Your mom watched other people's kids, like literally the definition of a village raising a child. I was like, I don't know how your mom was superwoman. I don't know how she did it all.
Yeah, I say, and they all like cook all the time. And I'm like, Brandon and I say to her all the time, we don't know how, like 5 kids and then helping raise other people's children and working sometimes 2 and 3 jobs and running a business. I'm like, I don't know how.
I have no idea how she did it. And she is always a constant inspiration, always an inspiration. And Lillie, and I know you probably had to go into the next segment, but let me say this. I laughed when you guys said that you both were, in a point where you worked in the office and then you had to, go into home life and work from home. I had the exact opposite experience. I feel like I've always been an extrovert, and I feel like us like being in the trenches and still going to work during the pandemic, not sure if I was going to get COVID or what, which we did, our whole family got it, but it was fine. We were vaccinated. We were fine. But I had the exact opposite experience. I now feel like I am probably the most extroverted introvert person. If there's a thing, like I'm extroverted at work, but the moment I get out of that building and get into my car, I don't want to talk to anybody. Okay. When I get home, I do like the very minimum. I mean, I interact with my kids, obviously, but like in terms of like wanting to go out and do this and that, it's going to be, it's going to be once every blue moon.
Yeah. Cause you got to recharge. You're probably an ambivert, I think they're called. Like where you're like, cause I'm an introvert, but some people think that I'm extroverted, and I'm like, I'm not really, but it's like you have fun around people, but it like if you're around for too long, it like drains you, and then it takes you a little bit to recover from it. So I know exactly what you mean. And then the older I get, I feel like I'm becoming more like my mom. My mom used to be like, she was equal opportunity, don't like nobody. So like I feel like that. I'm just like, why are you coming over here? Why are you coming over here?
you're so busy, and it's just like you have your routine, and it's just like sometimes inviting people to your life that don't have the best intentions can be exhausting, trying to balance all of that. So I see that, and I agree. As I've gotten older, I'm the same way, like I'm very protective of my circle. My circle has gotten smaller and smaller over the years.
Same.
And I think that's normal. It's wisdom, it's discernment.
It is, yeah, and I feel like my discernment is growing, like, as I mature in life. So, like you say, I'm just more selective about who can be in my space. Like, if it's not good energy, I don't want it around. Because I feel like, I know for me, when I got really sick, when I would get sick, my mom would get sick. So I'm like, if my energy's good, she's good. So I'm like, and even with Brandon, I'm like, so okay, like I got to keep the peace within myself so that everything around me can flourish. So now I'm just like, if it's, don't call me with like meaningless conversations. Like it needs to be something that we can both grow from and learn from. I don't want to talk about superficial things at this point in my life. I'm just trying to like elevate to higher levels of success and happiness.
I dig that, Lillie. I dig it. I'm telling you, I feel like that is literally my feelings, like embodied in a single statement. That's it. Like if it's not a progressive thought, I may not be the most interested in engaging, because it's just so many other things that are going on that I just need to focus and prioritize my mental health and focus on what's important. All the other trivial things, I don't have time to waste time on those.
Yeah, I hear you. So, and then in the spirit of, if the shoe fitting, if you will, our next segment is walk in purpose. So, do you guys feel like you're walking in purpose? If so, how? If not, what would you think would be the next leg of your journey? Because I feel like we're all in transition at different points of our journey. We're trying to get to the point of living more meaningful and purposefully. So, what would you ladies say about that?
I think our family overall is a pretty like a family full of faith, whatever that may be. And I feel like there are going to be seasons that we go in and out of, and there are going to be things that are going to be very critical to those moments. I feel like my purpose and what I do as not only a mom, a full-time employee, these are things that I feel like, yes, I'm walking in my purpose. This is something that I've envisioned since I was a child. I knew I wanted to be a mom. I knew I wanted to be a veterinarian, and I'm walking in that place right now. Now, there are going to be things that are going to be ups and downs, and I may not understand that at the moment, but I feel like this is what I've been purposed for at this particular time. And I think that things are going to progress in my life and things may change, but I'm going to rise to the calling of whatever I feel like spiritually I need to be. I also, the older I get and the older my children get, I realize my purpose is to show my girls of color that there's no glass ceiling for you. Your mom, your grandmom, your aunties, they've all walked this pathway, bolstering you off their shoulders to make sure that you can have the highest success. It's very important that my girls see that, yes, sometimes it's chaotic here, and I may not be the most level-headed, but your mom works, your mom is a nurturer, your mom's in PTA, your mom does all the things. And I feel like that should be something, you shouldn't feel pressure to do all of that, but you can do it all. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it. Don't let anyone tell you can't do it all. If you feel in your peace that you can manage and juggle multiple things, do it. And I feel like as I get older and I watch my girls mature, that is my purpose. I want my girls to know you're strong, you're independent. You come from a long history of very strong, independent women, and you can do whatever you want to do. And don't let, someone else's perceptions of you determine what you're going to do in life. And I think that is my number one purpose right now.
I love that. And just like you say, you're just already speaking life into them, and with the seeds you're planting, like you're highly successful. But I know you think how I think, like whenever I get to the point of having kids, like, yes, I'm successful, but I want to set the stage for them to even surpass what it is that I'm doing. So I feel like you and Dutch are doing so amazing with that. So I know your girls are going to be highly successful, just like their mom.
Well, I hope so.
They will. They ain't got a choice in this family.
For me, right, my purpose, when I envisioned my life, probably as a kid, I always thought about sort of this middle class financial freedom, right?
Mm-hmm.
So kind of just growing up in a, I think, impoverished, very rural area in North Carolina, right? I knew that I didn't necessarily need a ton of like lavish things, but I didn't want to have to worry about money, right? Let's just face it, right? Statistics show, people that are in poverty, right? There are other factors that have to be included, right? That lead to early death, right? Anxiety, depression, you name it, right? It costs a lot more to be poor, right, than it is to be middle class, right? Access to healthcare, right, for impoverished individuals versus middle class, it's just a completely different lifestyle. So I do feel, right, that I'm currently walking in that, and I tell my husband every day, wow, we are just very blessed from a financial standpoint, right, to have the things that we do have in our 30s, but also, right, we are very nice, kind individuals that have really strong values of what is right and what is wrong. We are not the kind of people that are out here, trying to take from other people, right?
Sell your soul. I always say that I will never sell my soul for money. I would lose it all to remain righteous. I would not sell my soul for like financial gain. It's just
We
not.
are very righteous, very moral, morally rich in that sense. And again, even though I do work in corporate, I do feel that there's a leg of evangelism to working in corporate. I recently found out that I'm the first African American woman to work on my marketing team.
Oh, wow.
That's
Right.
Congrats, sis.
Huge, right?
Powerful.
Huge.
Yeah.
To get there, right? What did it take? Obviously, it took hard work. Obviously, it took, a team of people that do not look like me to push me, right? And to mention my name in rooms where there were development opportunities being discussed. But I am that person that reaches back. I will not shut the door behind me, right? I am that person that mentors. I am that person that coaches. I am that person that, will help you with your interview. I am that person that, will speak on your behalf as well. And so evangelism, mentorship, and balance, right, was kind of how I saw my life as a kid.
And we're all like walking in purpose. And I think with purpose, I feel like what Tiffany was mentioning earlier about seasons, I think purpose can be like transitional through different seasons. You might have a different purpose. So like in this season for me, I feel like it's entrepreneurship, caregiving, being more present with Brandon. Because I feel like when I worked so much in banking, I wasn't as present. Like I would be in the house, but I wasn't really present with my mom and Brandon. So now I know it's like more about being present with family and even with myself, just kind of like taking a step back, and try to just go inside and see what it is that God needs or wants me to do.
That's a whole separate podcast, Lillie, about how these alpha women, right, maintain balance in their marriages. Because that is a hard part too, right? Having to balance my ambition, but my marriage is the most important thing to me as well. So how do you balance the two? How do you show up and still be present, right? Depending on your husband's love language. Ed's love language is words of affirmation, right? And acts of service. So I do need some time. I can't be on the grind all the time.
Exactly. That's what like even entrepreneurship, I had so many people telling me like, oh, you work at the bank, like you work crazy hours, but you're going to work more as an entrepreneur. I'm like, I'm not, because I have more flexibility now. And I'm like, I can be more intentional with my time. So I just make it a point. Brandon's got like his area. He calls it, instead of the man cave, he calls it the brand cave. And then I have like my area that I call the lady lounge. But sometimes like I'll crash the brand cave and go mess around with Brandon and my doggy Kanan. So, and then I'll check on my mom. She's got me back watching the soap operas, like the stories, as Grandma Annie called it. I hadn't watched that stuff in probably like 13, 14 years. So yeah, but when I was working in banking, I wasn't doing really any of that. I would be so tapped out. I would just like go in a room and just need time to come down from it all from the day. So yeah.
This is just how we eat, Lillie. This is how we pay our bills.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes, like you say, I don't want to get lost in it and think, put that over, prioritize that over myself and my family. Like, that's not a mistake that I'm going to repeat on this leg of my journey.
That's
Well, you
right.
just miss out on so much, Lillie. I think you're going to go through different rotations and your priorities are going to shift a little bit. But I feel like if you always put your career, which may not always put you first, if you put that first, and your family is not the center, you miss out on a lot of monumental moments, bonding moments with your family. You said, being central with your husband, these are, and your mom and your other individuals. I mean, those are things that are so important. And, all those moments matter. And to be able to look back at those moments and just realize that you had that amount of time is so important. Okay.
Yeah, it very much so. And then just like all the segments tie back into the shoe fitting. So, um, with the Footloose segment, tell me what you guys do for fun, because I feel like all three of us are very, like Anna said, ambitious women. I think sometimes we're like not to be played with. We're very serious women, but like, what do y'all do? It might even be when nobody's watching to have fun.
You
I
want to go
like
first?
quiet. I like quiet, Lillie. Like I talk so much at work that I thought about, I'm out of the 10 hours I'm at work, I'm probably talking for 8 of those hours. So if I have moments where I can literally just be quiet and I can just be in my thoughts and process, I feel like that is one of my favorite things to do at the moment. Now I know I can't do that all day because obviously, like I said, I'm the center of this family unit, but I like to do that. I like to spend time with my kids. I like to see them develop interest. I like for them to see a very prominent like presence. But spending time with the kids is a good thing. Like I like for them to know that I'm interested in their lives and things like that. And one thing that I've gotten back to, Lillie, is dating. Okay. I have forgotten what it's like to date. Okay. Like we are so consumed in, oh my God, we're working different shifts. The kids are the priority.
Kind of stripped that away for Brandon and I, so I can totally understand. Yeah.
It's so important. It just brings back the youth in your marriage, and it just makes you feel like a priority in your spouse's life, it just brings things back center. So I feel like those are things like spending time with family, for those few brief moments, like logging in and tapping into my mental psyche to like make sure I'm good. You know what I mean? It's just things I like to do. Anna knows my family, my parents, as they've gotten older, they love to have cookouts, impromptu cookouts. Okay. It ain't nothing major, but my dad like, hey, I'm throwing something on the grill. Can y'all come by? So we try to meet like twice a month to do some things. And again, just some good old belly laughs, like thinking about like silly things we did as kids, like those are things that I think just being around family, it allows me to kind of let my guard down and just feel safe, and feel loved. I think those are the things that I like to do to kind of unwind,
Yeah. Oh, for me, Lillie, this is something that also came out of COVID, because I've been hitting the books, right? Because I've been getting it, chasing the bag in corporate. I haven't always had a ton of girlfriends. And so one of my, I kind of call her my spiritual mom, right? One of the things we kind of talked through during COVID was this idea of, how come you don't have a ton of friends? And, it wasn't super intentional. It's just, spent the past 10 years at NC State, right? I think from a family standpoint, my mom really didn't have a ton of friends, right? So it might be something that just didn't come natural to me, but I found some friends, Lillie, that are also Black and bougie, and
I love it. I got a lot of them here in Charlotte.
They're about their bag, but when we do get together, and it's not every weekend, it's not even every month, to be honest, but when we do get together, oh my gosh, we're laughing, my belly hurts, I can't breathe. It is just phenomenal to get with others.
And they get it, right? They get the shared experience that we have as Black women. Like that's so refreshing. And like similar here in Charlotte, like I said, during the pandemic, I isolated, but I've been making it a point to maybe go out to like brunch or something with girlfriends, like you say, maybe not even monthly, but maybe like every other month. I've just been trying to be more intentional. So I get it. And it is nice to have women that can understand what your day to day looks like. And you can just be your authentic selves. You don't have to conform to anything. You don't have to try to fit in at work. It's just, you can just be yourself. You can be, because I feel like we're all classy women, but I know we all got like ratchet tendencies too. So you can be like, with your girlfriends, they can get to see that side of you, So that feels good.
Some of these women are just a little bit older than me, but it's learning too at the same time,
Yeah.
right? Hey, where should my 401k be at the moment, right? What are some
That's
tips
right.
and tricks and with buying property and buying real estate? And it's good middle class conversations. It really is.
Yeah, I have a friend. She's probably in her 50s, but like spiritually, she has really taught me a lot about the Lord and just ways that I can grow like in my walk with God and just be a better person. Like if anything is going on, she's gonna know scripture. I don't know scripture in and out, but she's gonna, if you tell her something's going on, she's gonna point you where to go in the Bible. She knows it like in and out. So it's like it's cool to have women that are around who maybe areas that I need to grow in, they kind of have wisdom and experience and maturity that they can guide me. And then I feel like even though I may be younger, they learn from me too, So that feels really good to my soul, for sure. Yeah.
I think it's just the mentorship. Like I said, it literally, I don't feel like I'm sure we probably had mentorship in our younger, like our teens, our 20s, 30s, things like that. But I feel like now having someone who is in an aspiring position that you want to be in, like, these are things they've gone this pathway and they're able to tell you, hey, sis, like, look at it this way. These are things that are coming from people who've lived that life that you want to be. And so I think it's just something very nurturing about that energy, and just being with people of the like, because I think we can agree there are just going to be times where we're just not going to be surrounded by people who look like us, who get our culture, who, maybe share the same, comical things, it's just going to be different. It's a different culture, a different subset. And so to be around people who share those same energies as you and they're very relatable, I think it's just very relaxing. And like you said, you can let your hair down, you can be yourself a little bit more without, being judged or
having to explain or like being asked insensitive questions or questions you just shouldn't be asked. It's just like, I am not like your walking poster board for all Black people. Like, it's just like, let's just have our human experience and like respect that we all have differences. That's just, to me, that's easy, but I guess it's not always easy for everyone.
And then I think just an added leg, right? What do I do outside of work? So drinking with friends, working out, going hiking, right? So draining that energy, but also feeling the sun, right? Like feeling the sun on your skin, feeling the wind on your face and your body, right? So just connecting back to God's creation. Right?
It is. Nature is very therapeutic for me, like going for a long walk just to clear my head or like listen to an audiobook or a business course or music, whatever it is. Like I haven't gone lately, but I definitely want to go do karaoke. Like I like to sing and dance around.
I've been waiting since after COVID to sing Maxwell with you in the rain. We need to go to a Maxwell concert and sing in the rain, Lillie, for old and for new.
As a sidebar, Maxwell is going to be in Raleigh October 4th. And I planted the seed with you, Anna. And I'm trying to be conscious of like COVID and monkeypox, but I low-key feel like this has been on my bucket list. So I just want to put that out there for y'all. If y'all decided y'all want to go to the same concert, I'm down to do it. Just let me know because it's October 4th. That's it.
What day of the week is that on?
Lillie, I'm not sure. I think
if it's on a weekday, I might be
I probably couldn't do that. But weekend fun, I'm down.
Oh,
for
it's on Anna, was it October 4th or was it a different date?
I don't remember, but I just remembered I need to sing in the dark and I want to cry and I want to feel all the.
Yes, you want to scream to the top of your lungs, no judgment, Even look, before I start recording the podcast, I'll just sit here. I'm sure my video producer thinks I'm a psychopath, but I'll just sit here and like be singing and dancing to the top of my lungs. He's probably like, she's crazy, but that's how I like,
It's
let my head
cathartic.
down.
Okay. It's cathartic.
It is.
Okay.
It
Yes.
is. Yeah.
Supposed to go sing and cry and dance at the Maxwell concert and just vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of starting to venture out a little bit more now with, like she said, COVID, monkeypox is like in the back of your head. But Jermaine brought up a good point to me that, I get it. You're a caregiver. You want to protect mom. You don't want her to get sick again with COVID. But you guys are going to let life pass you by if you just, he's like, not saying you have to be out all the time, but you do need that outlet and release.
So, absolutely.
Yeah, it's important,
Yeah. So, well, y'all, that's it as far as segments. So I'm just gonna sign off the If the Shoe Fits podcast, and I just want to thank you both for being a part of it. And we call our tribe, our village, the supporters, and we spell it with support with HERS on the end. So for the supporters to stay in the know on our upcoming launch in early 2023, you can follow us on IG and Facebook at Shop Finder Keeper. And you can sign up for our email list on www.shopfinderkeeper.com. So thank y'all again.
Oh, I love it. Lillie, so proud of you. I am so proud of you. I know Anna feels the same way, but I do. I am so always proud of you and always so happy to brag about you any opportunity. I'm like, oh.
Same. I always thought my cousins are so gorgeous, but they're so smart, but they're so cool. They're like all the things.
I'm so proud. I love everything that you're doing. I feel like you're stepping into your purpose. You're claiming your time, Miss Ma'am. Okay.
Yeah. Invite us back soon, Lillie. We'll come back again. A variety of topics. We'll come back.
Oh yes, we can get into it for sure. Bye, y'all. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye. Love y'all.